ja niitä ei merkattu edes kartalla. Ruodussa kattelivessa kyllä huomaatte, että
Serengeti sijaitsee kauniisti vuoren rinteellä. Majat ovat ulkoa aistikkaan afrikkalaistyylisiä, mutta sisältä huippumodernia ja kaiken kruunaa uima-altaan aamun näkymät. Mutta pikainen paluu pölyiseen arkeen on väistämätön. Täällä on oltava tosi aikaisin liikkeellä jo kello 6 kieppeillä, jos haluaa olla ensimmäisenä bongaamassa.
So here we are migrating from Serengeti to Ngoron. Yeah. How long will it take us?
It depends where in Serengeti you are.
Yeah.
From the Nabi Hill, which is the center there,
Yeah.
so it can take about 3 hours depending on
3
where you
hours.
stop.
Yeah. Talking about migration, we have this huge, enormous animal migration.
Largest in the world.
Yeah. Which animals are concerned?
Mainly the wildebeest and zebra is part of the large migration in the Serengeti ecosystem, which involves Serengeti National Park and Masai Mara Reserve in Kenya.
Yeah. So it's a certain route or a cycle they do every year?
Well, it's continual. Throughout the year they're moving. At certain times they're moving quicker than other times. And where they're going to be at a certain time of year you can estimate fairly well, but it depends a little bit on the rains, on how quickly they move into certain areas.
Why are they moving?
They're moving because of the rainfall and the available vegetation in the areas. And it serves well for the whole ecosystem, because if you had them confined to one area, they would wear it out quite quickly.
Indeed, yes. We're talking about enormous herds.
Yeah, up to 1.5 to 2 million wildebeest, 200,000-300,000 zebras all moving.
Which probably makes wildebeest the most common mammal in Africa.
In that, yes, especially in the Serengeti ecosystem, it's unrivaled in numbers.
It's a funny combination of buffalo and a horse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're two definitely quite different species, and they complement each other very well. The wildebeest is their value is smelling the water and the rain.
Yeah.
And the zebra contributes with their eyesight and keeping some protection.
So the zebra is the police.
In some ways, you can see if there's a kill nearby, a lot of times the wildebeest will keep going.
Yeah.
And the zebra will be the ones watching what's happening and on alert.
So now we actually have them in the plains of Serengeti. And what's next for them?
Well, they're moving into the short grass plains.
Yeah.
And generally this time of year, January, February, March, they're down in the short grass plains, even in parts of the Ngoron Conservation Area. And generally down there, it's also where the calving occurs, usually in February. And they're dropping the calves in the short grass plains, and then they gradually move southwest and west, where they have to cross the famous Grumeti River,
Yes.
the crocodiles.
Which can be dangerous, yeah.
And then they're moving upwards into western part of northern Serengeti and into the Masai Mara. And then gradually coming down over the border into the Mara, and then gradually coming down into the Lobo area and the Leondo area, and then moving back down here. And this time of year, what we saw was some of the migration coming across into the short grass plains, and still some farther north near Lobo.
Yeah.
Those lines that we saw coming down. So they're a little bit late this year making their way down.
There's quite a lot of buffalo herds also down here.
They're not migratory, like they're not part of the infamous migration, but there are large herds, up to 1,000 in some areas.
Yeah.
And they're very successful animal and throughout Africa, wherever there's available.
They're strong and
water
a bit
supply.
aggressive as well.
Yes, it's not one if you would want to come across on foot. Two old ornery bulls. waiting in thick brush.
If we talk about the big nine, we also saw some nice elephants in Serengeti. They look rather red to me.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes they will dust themselves.
Yeah.
And trying to cool down, and they've taken some of the red soils and dirts from around there and put on themselves. It gives them an interesting color, yeah.
And then while we were having lunch, we had these two quite big ones.
Yeah.
I believe they were males.
Probably a couple males together.
Yeah, and they got quite interested of us and gave us some signals with the ears.
A little bit. They were just basically noticing we were there, taking note of it. But if they were giving real warning signs, it would be a lot more dramatic, of course. Yep.
Niin, tilanne on siis se, että flamingoja on kahta eri sorttia täällä. On se korkeampi, niin sanottu greater flamingo, 140-senttinen, ja sitten on tämä matalampi lesser flamingo, 100-senttinen. Se korkeampi seisoo yleensä tuolla ulompana ja yhdellä jalalla. Sitten se pienempi, sillä on hiukan punaista täällä siipien päällä ja on täällä rantaviivan lähellä. Esimerkiksi tuo. Sä nähnyt niitä isoja lainkaan tuolla? Eli lajike 66 ja 67, näin ollen karkotettu. So you could call this lion country.
Yes, I think so.
Ever been this close?
Yeah, she wants to come up here because of the shade.
Yeah.
From the sun. So now we have to wait to see what she does before we can go anywhere, can't we?
Yeah, it's quite close. That's a female, of course.
Yes.
She has no mane.
No.
And it's a big one.
These are all females here. This other one and the one in the has crawled in a hyena den with some young.
When they make love, they are quite fast, these ones.
Yeah, they don't last very long, but they do it continually throughout the day, maybe twice an hour or so, and then each copulation lasts 10-20 seconds, and then they rest and pant, and then they.
Does the female copulate only with that male for that time being?
She would be with that male. Yes.
How long is the gestation period?
Line would be about 3.5 months.
We often see them in groups.
Yeah, they're the only social cat. You'll see in prides can be up to 40, and in country like this where there's so much prey, there'll be a number, maybe even 5 prides here, very condensed, very small ranges.
What's their main prey?
They have a varied prey. Wildebeest, zebra, buffalo. You know, buffalo is dangerous to go after, but they'll try and do it because if they do succeed, then they have quite a lot of food there for a lot of the pride.
But the gnu seems to be a favorite.
Yeah, especially during the migration. You know, it'll stay near where the herds are moving and try and catch a stray one.
Leijonat nauttivat yleensä vain parhaimmat palat päältä pois. Ja sitten on puhdistuslaitoksen vuoro. Häijyt, hyönät ja haaskalinnut huolehtivat siitä, että luonnon kiertokulku jatkuu. Kun kestit ovat ohi, jäljelle jää vain luuranko ja pääkallo.
the lion is the king, but even the king has enemies.
Yeah. Well, mostly it's young. If it stashes its young somewhere and moves away, a hyena would, if a clan of hyenas comes upon it, will try and kill it, or even wild dog. But its main enemy would be, of course, man, in persecuting the lion, thinking it's killing cattle or trying to tame some areas.
What shall we do? Shall we wait for the evening to set?
I think we have to wait to see what this big lioness does.
The head is stuck under the wheel almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other.
And the tail is in the front here, so
Yeah.
we'll have to be patient, I think.
Okay. So maybe we have lunch here.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Mark, you could call this a lion close-up. We don't need any binoculars for this one. No.
Don't need any binoculars.
No. We're actually under siege. Now there's 3 grown-up lion ladies
Lionesses, one underneath.
enjoying our company, or at least our cars.
They're enjoying our shade.
Yeah. The problem is, of course, that we have found out by now that there's not only one puppy, there's 5.
There's 5, which
And
is
it's probably 2 litters.
yeah, it could be, or an unusually large litter for one lioness.
How long do you reckon they will enjoy the shade?
Well, we're waiting for the sun to come over us, and then maybe once they're in the sunshine a little bit more, we can escape.
Well, Mr. Mariki, this must surely be one of the most spectacular sights in the whole Tanzania.
Oh yes, this is one of the very important natural World Heritage Site, the Ngoron crater, and it is a good place for international significance and for our nation.
Mm-hmm. How many animals would there be in the crater?
We have about 20,000 animals down the crater.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot, and many different species, I believe.
A lot of different species. We have big animals like elephants, we have buffaloes, we have also big predators like lions, hyenas, jackals. Those are the animals that prey on others that we have in the crater. And also they contribute an overall control to the population of animals.
Mm-hmm. I know that this is a conservation area. Now, what's the difference between a national park and a conservation area and then a game reserve?
Well, the big difference between a national park and a conservation area is that the Ngoron conservation area allow residents to live. The Maasai people are living in the Ngoron conservation area legally. While a national park does not allow any human activities except those ones who are taking care of that national park. And the game reserve is an area which is set aside, of which eventually it will be upgraded and become a national park.
Mm-hmm.
That hunting can be allowed by licensing, while a national park or the conservation authority is not allowed to kill.
How big a problem is poaching?
Yeah, we have poaching going in the area, but not as much as it used to be in 70s or in late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of poaching have been going on by the people who are coming outside the Ngoron conservation area. And also the Ngoron conservation area authority, in collaboration with the government and other international conservation communities, have been helping us to combat with the poaching. So the poachers' problem now is under control at the moment.
How about the cooperation then with the Maasai people?
The Maasai people are very much helpful because they have been living side by side with this wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
So,
As today.
As today, so they contributed a lot with conserving this wildlife because they did not kill for the sake of poaching or eating wildlife. They have contributed a lot to conserve the wildlife.
How does the tourists and the wildlife get on together? I mean, is the tourism a threat for the wildlife here in Ngorongoro?
The tourists have not been a very big problem because we always look various ways of trying to make diversification of tourists in the area. Say some of them will go down the crater, some will make walking safaris, so that reduces a lot of impact into the conservation area. And also we don't allow any kind of infrastructure on the Ngorongoro crater rim as to avoid a lot of impact and damaging the natural heritage.
Ngorongoro ei ole pelkästään tämä kuuluisa kraatteri, vaan sen ulkopuolella on yli 8000 neliökilometriä laaja luonnonsuojelualue, jonne myös kerääntyy runsaasti villieläimiä. Northern Highlands Reserve kraatterin pohjoispuolella kerää korkeudellaan alueen sateet ja on näin ollen elintärkeä niin viljelyksille kuin laitumille sekä tietenkin alueen villieläimille ja asukkaille.
We have also the Old Pai Gorge. Old Pai Gorge is where they found the remains of an element who had been living about 1.5 million years ago.
That's a long time.
Pretty old.
Serengetin tasangon eteläpäässä sijaitsee Oldupain rotko, jota monet tutkijat pitävät ihmiskunnan tyyssijana, sananmukaisesti pääkallopaikkana. Alueelta on löytynyt ihmisapinoiden jäänteitä, joiden iäksi arvioidaan 22 miljoonaa vuotta. Kuuluisin kaivajista on Cambridgein yliopistosta valmistunut antropologi Louis Leakey, joka meerivaimonsa kanssa vietti täällä ihmiskunnan alkukodissa toistakymmentä vuotta. Ja Oldupai saikin leikkisästi nimekseen Leakeyn pyhäkkö.
Ngorongoro is famous for preserving the rhino.
Well, the situation of rhinos in Ngorongoro crater is not bad, but I won't even mention the number of the rhinos we have for conservation purposes. But we have a good number of rhinos in the crater.
Yes, I'm a traveling man.
Well, here we have one of the endangered species. It's the rhino, of course. Doesn't look that beautiful, really. So, what is it that makes it so valuable for the poachers that it has been slaughtered in thousands?
Yes, there's first of all, there's only about upwards of 20 left in the crater, which is one of the few areas of Tanzania that you can find the black rhino. There's some other areas, but they're very remote, and the numbers aren't known if they're really existing anymore. It's been hunted because of the horn, which is worth a lot of money in the Middle East, in Yemen, and also in Asia.
Well, it seems to be quite a lonely loner standing there alone on the field, but probably enjoying the grass.
Yes, well, they're browsers. The black rhino, the white rhino is more of a grazer, and generally they're more active in the nighttime here in the crater, and they're coming out of the Lurai forest there. And this one's been here most of the day, just basically sitting and sleeping. And in the nighttime here in the crater, they're more active. But in other places, it can be vice versa.
It's quite a piece of kilos. How many would you
It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's looking at it can be about the height of a buffalo, but almost twice as heavy, up to 1,300 kilos. But this is the black rhino is lighter than the white rhino, which can go up over 2,000 kilos.
So you said there's about 20 left here and they can live till about maybe 40 years?
About 40
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
So any knowledge how many ladies there are among them, so we could make a calculation?
And what the progress will be.
Yeah.
This one is a female, a younger one, maybe
Younger one, yeah.
6-7 years or so, I think.
I believe they mature by 7.
Yes,
So she's
generally.
ready.
She's ready. Maybe
Yeah.
she's waiting.
Maybe she's
But they have been known to start breeding at a younger age, yeah. The males are maturing around 10 years old.
I've read somewhere that they can get pregnant every 3rd year or something like that, if they're lucky. That
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
So-
it depends.
So that maybe she could produce up to 5, maybe.
In a
during her-
lifetime.
in a lifetime, yeah.
Yeah, it's possible.
But then again, with the oldest one dying off, there's no guarantees.
No, and one of the dangers is if you have a isolated environment with only a few numbers of the species, then you're lacking a more varied gene pool, and then you can have problems with inbreeding, which has been
Yes,
seen in
indeed.
the Florida panthers
And
and
then
also.
they become weaker and get diseases more easy.
Yeah.
Well, let's wish her good luck.
Yes, we hope. Right.
Serengetin ja Ngoron ovat villieläin kannaltaan ainutlaatuiset maailmassa. 2 viikon aikana retkikuntamme bongasi ennätykselliset 92 eläinlajia, vaikka pienlintuja ei laskettukaan.
I'm a traveling man, made a lot of stops all over the world, and in every port I own the heart of at least one lovely girl. I've a pretty senorita waiting for me down in old Mexico, and if you're ever in Alaska, stop and see.